So normally when I after I press record, I start out with something quippy to just kind of get us going into the conversation. A tradition that dates back to the original Chris and Matt's Wrestling Pod, where we would act like we were in the middle of this heated conversation when Matt would press record. Um, but today I just the news we just got a couple hours ago. Um, it's been a rough week for wrestling fans. I mean, yesterday we lose Terry Funk, and then today just the unthinkable, the passing of Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt. Um, man, I'm having a hard time processing it, Matt. I don't know how you're dealing with it.
Yeah, like it sucks. Like it's the only way. Like it's so basic to describe it that way, but that it just like it it's just a bummer, man. Like it's just it part of the appeal of pro wrestling is these guys seem bigger than life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think about them passing at such a young age. And it's just like, it's just a kick in the gut, man.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
Especially like it really hits home when now, you know, like it always sucked when wrestlers died young. It always sucked. But there was some, I don't know, there was something about it when we were younger, and these guys were, we were in our teens or 20s or whatever, and these guys are in their 30s or 40s, and it's like, you know, that's a ways off for me. But like, I'm just like a year and a half or so older than him. He was 36, and I turned
Right.
38 here in about a month, and it's just like that stuff like that. And then especially now, now that I have, you've had kids for a while now. I've got my little boy, and he had four little kids, and it's just that's the stuff even more so, um, that really gets you apart from the aspect of it from being a wrestling fan, but thinking about his family and stuff like that. It's very the whole situation has been very felt feels very eerily similar to the Brody situation,
Right.
where you don't see him for a long time, and it's all kind of like hush hush, and then all of a sudden he's gone. uh
Yeah.
it's crazy. But yeah, I made sure I hugged my son a little extra tight before he went to bed tonight, and it just it, it's almost come cliched now when things like this happen. But just tell the people you love that you love them, man, because you just never know.
Yeah. And the point about the family too, um, what always trips me up when you hear like he has a family or she has a family and stuff like that when things happen, not just with wrestlers but in general. Bray Wyatt, the wrestler, is never going to be forgotten, right? There's always going to be that tribute, but that family
Mm-hmm.
knew him as Wyndham,
Mm-hmm.
and their everything they lost can't be replaced.
Right.
And that's where I always go to just like, yeah, you feel bad in the moment, but then you can kind of make yourself feel okay. Is like, well, Eddie Guerrero is never really gonna die, right?
Right.
I literally just saw there was a thread on Reddit today about um the best wrestler ever who started with the letter E in their name, right? And I was like, Edge has got to be it, right? And then like it was just Eddie, Eddie, Eddie,
Right.
Eddie, and I'm like, Eddie Guerrero is never going to die. His
Right.
legacy is always going to be so. Like that part of it kind of helps you cope, but then you
Yeah.
think about the family, and they're never going to be able to replace that, and they're never going to be able to just go talk to someone who can make them feel the way they do about him, the real life being. It just that's what kind of always tends to get me
Yeah.
when stuff like this happens.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Um, But at the risk of, you always try and be careful to not like make it all about, what us as wrestling fans lost, because like you said, that the family has lost way more than that. But being as we are wrestling fans, what are some things, what are some things that immediately come to mind as far as, things he did on screen that you'll always remember?
Well, I mean, good and bad is kind of the first thing. Like, but when I think of the good, I always go back to that first Shield Wyatt family
Mm-hmm.
match and that feud, and just that felt so big at the moment, but it was big with guys who hadn't been on the scene before. So you were like, oh, I'm interested in this. And then it delivered, and it kind of showed that, like, the future isn't coming, the future's here.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are going to be running the show in the next few years. And I mean, 2, 3 years after that, that was the case.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and Bray was at that time, Bray was the best part of the whole angle. He was
Yeah.
so on fire,
Mm-hmm.
and it really it carried through, all the way to the stuff with Brian the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the coolest moment of the
Well,
whole
no,
Yes
that
move,
stuff with Brian was before the Shield stuff. That
or
was like the
yeah,
month before.
right. I'm thinking I'm because I've been watching the videos out of order
Oh,
today.
right.
But when Brian had that moment in the steel cage, the biggest moment of the Yes movement,
Mm-hmm.
um, to me was the moment in the cage, and when the crowd is slowly following him with the Yes, that doesn't happen if Bray isn't the character he is and hadn't created that storyline that really kind of helped solidify Brian as, like, we've really got to get him back at the top of the card. And the backstory is they still hadn't decided to put him to the top of the card at that point, but
Right.
that moment was because of Brick.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah. That initial run on the main roster with the Wyatt family was just great stuff. It was something different than anything else that they had on the TV at that time. Um, and I always, he had so many moments. His feud with Roman, the anybody but you Roman stuff. But then, fast forward a little bit, and it's a clip that I see probably once a month, and it's where it's after the Wyatt family has turned babyface. It's after that WrestleMania 32 at some point, and Bray and Roman are actually teaming against Del Rio and Sheamus, I think it is.
Yep.
And it's that great where Bray hits the Sister Abigail on Alberto and
And
goes for the
Roman's
cover, and he points, and Roman comes out of nowhere with the spear on Sheamus. Like that,
mm-hmm.
like that's cool. And then, like, look, the the Fiend had its ups and downs for sure, but that first time seeing, well, the Firefly Funhouse stuff, like, I was all about it when that stuff started airing. And then that first time you see that entrance at SummerSlam that year, I was like, oh my God, like, this is going to be like the next, greatest thing. And it was until they ruined it. But, and then, the Firefly Funhouse match with Cena, like, I still, every time I see clips from that, like, it's like such a just complete, and it's, just him and John, putting that thing together, and all
during the pandemic.
during the pandemic, but all, all the I'm a sucker for the quote unquote lore, and so it's, all the callbacks and Easter eggs and stuff like that in that match was just right up my alley. So
Yep.
yeah, and then, he came back last year, and and then he was gone again, and now he's gone. So it just, man, just like I said, just heartbreaking stuff.
Yeah, and we didn't even touch on the feud with him and Randy going into that WrestleMania. It was really well done with Harper and Harper's involvement in the whole thing.
Yeah,
when he wins the title at Elimination Chamber, and then it sets up Randy and Bray at Mania, like that was so well done. Like you mentioned earlier, it was great until they messed it up, and they messed that one up too. But I don't think that was his fault at all. Like because they delivered for so long on that feud, and I thought that was going to be like one of my favorite things of all time. Just the way it, but then that match at Mania, and then the one after it, they ruined it.
Yeah,
and I mean, that's kind of the story of his whole career with that company. It was really good until they got until the front office got too involved in it.
Yeah. So, I don't even. There's not really a good way to transition out of this. I just knew before we could talk about anything else, I knew I for myself needed to start there because, like I said, it just happened like hours ago. So as we're recording this, so I mean, I guess while we're on the topic, do you have any Terry Funk memories?
I can't pretend that I'm a big Terry Funk guy. I just respect it. I mean, everyone was talking yesterday about the match with Flair in '89, the I Quit match, which is it's a great match. It's a classic for sure. But I can't sit here and tell you I've got 10 matches of Terry Funk's that I love.
Yeah, he was always, even though he was always wrestling, like he always seemed to be someplace else other than where I was watching. By the time I got back into wrestling in late '99, I think he was in WCW at that point, and I wasn't watching WCW at all. So I
like a lot of people,
right. So yeah, there's just his one-off appearances here and there on WWE TV. I remember the second one night stand, the tag match with him and Dreamer versus Edge and Foley. That's probably that, or like you said, not even the match, but the angle to set up the match against Flair. Is what I'll the couple of the things that I'll remember most about Terry. But I obviously have the utmost respect for him because all the wrestlers I like seem to love Terry Funk. So
that was a point I was gonna make. Like, just because I don't know a lot of this stuff, like he's my favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, sort of thing. Like, if they say he's that great, like I'm not gonna go out of my way to say anything bad about him. He was outstanding. But and Mick Foley is like on my short list of like 2 or 3 favorites of all time, and that's his mentor, his idol. Like that's all I need to know, because Mick's a pretty good judge of character.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I guess no easy transition out of that stuff, but we've got a big show coming up this weekend, huh?
Yeah, I got a transition. We can talk about felony gun charges in the state of Florida, or we can talk about the show. Either one.
Sure. I mean, one ties into the other at some point. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll save it till we get there.
Yeah. All In is this Sunday. The biggest wrestling show of all time, quote unquote. Which, I mean, I guess if you're looking at pure just from attendance, then yes, I guess that's factual.
I mean, it's wrestling. If they weren't stretching the truth, it wouldn't be a wrestling show, right?
Right. Exactly. They've added to the card. They've changed some things had to make some changes to the card. yeah, it's been kind of a mess, but we're here. Um,
That should be the tagline of every AEW show. AEW Dynamite. It's been kind of a mess, but hey, we're here. Because obviously, as I told you and the listeners and viewers, because we are on YouTube.
yes,
Um,
yes,
I
musicandmovesense.com.
boom. We had canceled our YouTube TV subscription for the summer. Well, we got it back ahead of football season. Anticipating the
Yeah,
Lions actually giving me something to watch.
yeah,
And so I've been able to watch the last week and a half of AEW television, and it's pretty bad in my opinion. Um, just with the constant, hey, tune in for this, and then it doesn't happen. Uh, wasn't there supposed to be the retirement of the FTW title last night? Wasn't that advertised like all week? Jack
yeah.
Perry was going to retire the FTW title. Didn't happen.
Was that
Last week,
wait a minute? Was that this week or was that last week? And then they didn't do it. I don't know. But yes, it was supposed to
it was
happen.
advertised.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it
supposed to
hasn't
happen and
happened.
didn't. Yeah.
FTR was supposed to. We'll hear from FTR on Collision Saturday night, and it was a video package with a voiceover. Now you've got AR Fox is no longer in one of the matches at All In, and I understand that is a personal. He had a death in his family, but you just completely scrapped the story
Right.
on a whim because of that. Ray Phoenix can't get into England to work, and you didn't have that cleared up weeks ago before you promoted a match to everyone that's excited for this show. Like it's really like it's bush league, it's low grade. It's just like you can't keep putting these things out there and then having to change the card or change the show at the last minute on people.
Right. Yeah, the Fox thing makes zero sense. Like if he can't make it, then, figure something out. Like
Have Sting and Darby put him out of commission
right. Right.
before the match.
Like, yeah, I mean, they invaded his indie show last week. Like, just say, he sustained an injury during that and can't compete or whatever.
Exactly.
The the Ray Phoenix thing. I heard some, a theory, and it makes sense, but it also doesn't, that they knew about it when they first announced the match, and obviously they knew who the other partners for BCC were going to be, but they didn't feel like it would have made sense from the outset to announce Penta but not Phoenix for the match. So they,
when did they officially announce the match? It was like
last week.
Last week. Okay. So if they knew last week, then you run the angle with Penta or with Ray getting his ass kicked and you do that last week.
Right.
Like, how hard is this?
Yeah.
Like, just and that's the motivation for the other side of like, we got to go get revenge on these whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah. No, I can't say I disagree.
And then the one match that you should obviously be making a change to because of real life serious bullshit, he's like, I don't got enough information, boys. I can't make a good enough decision based on the information I have. So I'm going to let this guy go perform on the biggest show of all time, make a ton of money, and hopefully he's not behind bars in 6 months because he lost his mind on the freeway. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, you're more fired about that one than I am. But so yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just go through everything here and kind of give what we think might happen. Obviously we're starting at 0 hour with the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles on the line with Aussie Open defending against MJF and Adam Cole.
Yes. I don't care what happens in this match. I don't care if they win the tag titles. I don't care if they lose. I don't care if it's just some stupid thing they do just for Cole to hit him with a low blow and beat him. I don't care. I just don't want anything bad to happen to either one of them so that we can pay this off properly in the main event.
Yeah, that's the one thing that worries me is that anything can happen. So if you, yeah, definitely a concern. But I've got a theory. I think they might win, MJF and Cole. And when we get to the main event, I'll kind of.
I have a feeling I know where you're going with it too, and I've considered that as well.
Okay,
but we'll get there.
All right. So on the main card, and I'm just going how it's. We have the trios match of Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, and Kota Ibushi, the Golden Elite, versus the team of Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Konosuke Takeshita. This is what This is what bothered me about last night. They did that big smoz to kick off the show. Where the hell was Hangman?
Dude, he got kicked. Didn't you hear Punk was in the building, so he got kicked out before the show?
Right. I get that they were, they had FTR come out and make the save again to kind of play that up, and that played into their sit down interview later. But I just was like, okay, where's Hangman? Like, he's in the match. Where is he?
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but this is the same. Like, are we still trying to tell this story of is Hangman all in? Pardon the pun, on the friendship, or is he still not sure?
No, I don't think that's it because they did the.
But then why wouldn't he be there? You got to give us a reason at some point.
Yeah, no, to not even acknowledge it was weird, for sure. But
as far as who wins the match. Bang Bang Gang all day.
Think so?
It has to. I think the other three guys are bulletproof. If you don't have that side win, you risk losing the momentum on Jay White and Takeshita.
Right. Yeah.
Juice. I love Juice, but he's not in that conversation right now of moving up toward another big spot on the card. He's great at what he does. I wouldn't want to change that right now.
Right. No, I do. Actually, I think you're right. Because then you can use this to spawn off into finally getting the one-on-one with Kenny and Takeshita either the following week or on a Dynamite in the near future.
Grand Slam is coming up.
Grand Slam. Whatever.
There is a pay-per-view next weekend. I mean, that'd be a great match to throw on as a big time one-on-one.
Right. If those guys want to work Chicago, might be a hostile environment.
All the better, but whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but I think you're right. Those guys win. I think it's going to be a big night for Don Callis and Associates, but we'll get there. The aforementioned coffin match, Sting and Darby Allin versus Swerve and Christian Cage. I think Sting and Darby, Tony.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
Tony's on this. This is Sting's greatest run of his career because he's undefeated and.
Yeah, whatever.
So I think
I'm a slap for that company, and that's nonsense.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that Sting gets one more stadium show too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, did he ever?
That crowd's gonna go crazy for him.
I mean, outside of WrestleMania, did he ever work a stadium show?
I think a couple of those WCW shows. Well, I don't know if those were in the Tokyo Dome or not. The New Japan shows they did in the 90s.
Right.
I would imagine he did one or two of those.
Yeah,
he had
to
have.
That's true.
He might even worked a Tokyo Dome, a January 4th show,
Yeah. And then, Sting and Christian Cage in the ring together again.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Joker. I love that he's kind of thrown a little Joker sting in there.
Yeah,
it's pretty fun. The thing he did with Nana last week was hilarious.
and it was great to see Nana working with Sting.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Sting and Darby are winning this, and this will give Darby momentum as he faces Luchasaurus at All Out for the TNT title.
Yeah.
And then Stadium Stampede. Orange Cassidy and Best Friends with Eddie Kingston and Penta. Okay, so I'm confused. So I'm on Bleacher Report, which you would think that they would kind of know because like they're the app that it's going to be showing the show. Yeah. They have it listed as those guys with another mystery partner. Versus Blackpool Combat Club, Santana Ortiz, and another mystery partner. I thought they just changed it to a straight 5-on-5.
Yeah, they did. They announced right. They announced last night.
So Bleacher Report's full of shit. All right, cool. I really don't know. It doesn't matter.
I think Blackpool has to. I think Blackpool has to win.
I think
they just lost a feud to the Elite, right?
Yeah.
And Santana and Ortiz are coming back. They need some momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, you're right.
Of course I'm right.
Yes. And then you can.
They're totally gonna lose now. They're totally gonna lose now. Eddie's gonna pin Mox, and that's gonna be it.
Or Claudio. Yeah, that's what's interesting to me because obviously him and Claudio are will never be finished. But then this this thing with him and Mox, you got to think has to happen at some point too.
Sidetrack real quick. Did you see the commercial for the video game? The promo that Eddie did for it?
No.
There was to announce the Stadium Stampede DLC on the video game. And it's Tony Khan starts like, I just want to introduce a great wrestler. Here's Eddie Kingston. And Eddie's promo is basically like, buy the game, don't buy the game. It's a great game. I don't really give a crap. I just want to know when do I get my hands on Claudio Castagnoli. And he just started talking about how much he hates Claudio. And he's like, but then either way, go buy the video game. It's awesome. You'll have a great time.
Nice. Yeah, no, as stupid as it was to do the in and out stuff with Phoenix, the way they took him out, I thought ruled, hitting him in the head with a crowbar, and then the interaction with Eddie and Renee, he's like, your husband, he did this. Like,
yeah, it was a tough night for Renee. Yeah, it was a tough night for Renee. Everyone kept yelling at her. I felt bad.
I know. It's good to see Santana back too.
Yeah, and it's good to see it's him and Ortiz because there were rumblings that they weren't getting along, and
so.
I mean, and
maybe they still aren't, but hey, they can
make some money. Like, shut up and do it, right? Maybe tell that to the EVPs and Mr. Straight Edge.
Speaking of Mr. Straight Edge, for the real World's Championship, quote unquote.
Who cares? Who cares?
CM Punk versus Samoa Joe.
Was it like 4 weeks ago, we were on here and I was talking about how like it was kind of disappointing that the CM Punk Samoa Joe match is getting done in a tournament with like no build really. And I was like, but at least it means we're going to get the match one more time because we never know with these two. You're going to tell me you booked that tournament and then you're going to go when you could have set something up in that tournament to establish for this match in front of 80,000. This match doesn't freaking matter anymore because Punk just beat him. It's stupid. But if that match hadn't happened and you're building to CM Punk Samoa Joe for the first time in X amount of years in front of 80,000 people. You can sell that this rivalry started in ROH, which, by the way, is the company we own now. And if you want to see all the classic Joe Punk stuff, we've got it for you. Instead of doing it in front of 80,000 people for the first time, you're just giving us a rematch thrown together in 2 weeks. It's gonna be good because it's Punk and Joe, but damn it, man! Like, give the fans a little more than just a matchup on a card. This whole thing about him being not a great booker, he's a great matchmaker, is really starting to show. Mm-hmm. He has no he does. There's just like no build to anything anymore.
Right.
Sorry to go off on a tangent about that too. No, I've been fired up to talk about AEW all week.
You're good. In his defense, I don't think this was the original plan. Now, I don't know what the original plan for Punk would have been, but I do know that like the Joe kind of being available kind of fell in their lap because Joe theoretically was supposed to be still be doing promotion for Twisted Metal.
That's right.
But since he can't do that, it's kind of why it's, Cena's going to be on SmackDown next week and be at that show in India. He's got nothing better to do right now.
Right.
So I think this kind of fell in their lap. Like, well, if we can do this match in a stadium, let's do it. Even though
that's not good. That's not good enough for me. I'm sorry. It's not. If that's the case, and you put Jay White against CM Punk and pay off that feud, and that way Kenny can just keep messing around with Takeshita. The Bullet Club doesn't have to be all involved with it, or you could still do the match, and it's the Gun Club versus the other three.
Yeah, you could do Takeshita and the Gun,
right, against the Elite, and that keeps that kind of symmetry of all. Right, and all the feuds are kind of intertwining, and again, you're paying off all this stuff that's been going on in Collision since Punk came back. Yeah. That's not good enough for me. Like, and I don't mean this as like a CM Punk mark or whatever, but like he deserves to have more thought put into it than that. It's just like he's your biggest star. He should be one of the. When you're setting your card, he's one of the 4 or 5 things you're like, okay, what are we doing with him on this card?
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering how long they're going to keep up this real world title thing before they finally get around to doing a unification match.
I think Full Gear has got to be it.
I think so, but even that seems maybe Grand Slam. Maybe you do that at Grand Slam.
I don't think so. I think and this is jumping ahead a little, but I think MJF is walking out as champ still.
Sure.
And I think they're going to need a couple weeks to pay that off, maybe at All Out or at Grand Slam, but then it's going to be Punk and MJF at Full Gear because that's the last pay-per-view before the MJF's contract is up.
Right.
And you can play off. You can play off of the is Punk gonna win because MJF's leaving, or it'll be just like Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm. Not really, because MJF will still have a few months. Like there'll still be opportunity. Like there's still X amount of weeks.
But I've thought about this. It could be very much a thing. My contract with AEW states I only work X amount of days a year. I fulfill those dates. My last date is. Blah 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 blah. The day
as he revealed on Truth or Dab today, it's January 1st, 2024.
Sure, but you could write in that contract. There's a certain like
Edge.
Exactly.
But I mean, Punk's winning, right?
Oh yeah, obviously.
Okay, yeah. I
just hope he doesn't blow his back out trying to get the GTS.
Right. The World Trios Championship, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass versus House of Black. I mean, the Acclaimed got to win this one, right? This is their 3rd shot at it.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I think they've got to. I think they. Otherwise, why do this a 3rd time? Which I mean, I guess as we've discussed, not really.
There doesn't have to be logic in any of it,
right? But I feel like they have to.
I think Billy retiring is a real thing, and going out in front of 80,000 people is kind of the best he's going to do at this point. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
No, I
Like
get
this
it.
is, I think I think they're going to lose, and he's actually going to retire.
Well, then again, save that angle for this match. Like, anyways.
I didn't say it made sense, but
I'm going with you.
I mean, look, and if you want to kill the House of Black,
world's largest scissor party, baby.
sure. If you want to really kill House of Black's momentum, you have them lose to a 50. What is he? 58 or something like that.
Yeah.
You have them lose to that guy in that big match. I just don't think it's a good idea.
I don't think it's gonna hurt him. So, but I guess we'll see. The Women's World Championship in a four-way. Champion Hikaru Shida defends against Britt Baker, Saraya, and Toni Storm.
I think it's going to be Saraya just for the pop.
Think so?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I think Shida retains. So.
Why is that?
I don't know. She just got it. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it'd be good for the pop, I guess. But then, like, how long are you going to have the title on Saraya? Are you going to take it off her, like, the following week at All Out? Like, that's not, again, that's not something I want to play with fire with, as far as, she's like this. I mean, I guess anyone is, but you know what I mean? Like, one wrong move, and like, I just,
If the title was hot, I'd agree with you. I'm not like that title doesn't matter. And by no fault, I don't mean that like to knock the women's wrestling side. The title hasn't meant anything because it just keeps getting handed off to people. Yeah. Thunder Rosa got hurt, and they added an interim champion. Then the interim champion dropped it, and then that person got hurt. And here we are again. Like it's they haven't had a good reign with the title since Britt dropped it.
Right. Yeah. Wow, they didn't even put the Jericho match on here. Jeez, oh Pete's. Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay. I think Ospreay has to win, right?
Ospreay has to win 100%.
I would also like it noted that I called it on this very podcast like 2 months ago. That Chris Jericho was going to have Fozzy play him out so that he can he can always say that Fozzy played Wembley Stadium
in front of 80,000 people.
Yes. Just like Queen at Live Aid, baby.
Mm-hmm. You got to hand it to him. Oh, dude's a genius.
I would do the exact same thing. Like,
right.
Why wouldn't you? But yeah.
And here's the thing too. It's not going to get one of those wrestling rock like boos from the crowd, because the whole place is going to sing the song.
Yeah.
Because we're all idiots for wrestling.
So that's what I'm wondering. So is he going to sing on his way out to the ring? Like,
I think so.
Our true style? Or is he just going to let the crowds sing and the band is just going to play?
I think he's going to sing because he's going to want to say he sung in front of. But also, how AEW would it be if that was the thing and he's walking to the ramp singing and the mic cuts out because they didn't have it like set up properly?
Oh, it's going to sound awful. It's going to sound awful.
I just can't imagine it's going to sound good.
I'm calling it's going to sound terrible.
See, I think Jericho's going to be like, look, we have to have like the loudest stage possible, so it's actually like a rock show.
I see. It's not even about like the sound. I'm sure it's going to sound okay in the arena. They just don't know how to mix the live music for the television broadcast usually.
Sure.
Like that's what.
Well, let's hope they've learned from the last few times, but probably not.
Yeah, I'm having terrible flashbacks to Downstate playing Kingdom for Cody. That was awful.
Wait, what did you call that band?
Downstate.
I thought it was Down Straight.
No, Downstate.
That show.
STAIT.
Huh. I always just assumed there was an R there.
No.
And they were just, yeah, shows how much I pay attention to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't today the 7-year anniversary of that song coming out? I'm off the rails.
Probably. Sorry. The AEW World Tag Team Championships, FTR versus the Young Bucks.
The Bucks are winning. They have to win now.
See, I don't think so. I mean, I think they will. But I don't think. I don't think from everything I've heard about this, unless he did what he allegedly did in front of a traffic cam, it's going to be very hard to prove that he did what he's accused of doing.
My retort to that is, it is a felony he was charged with, a felony gun charge in the state of Florida, where their stand your ground law is, you don't even have to prove you were afraid. If you just feel like your life is in danger, you're allowed to use a firearm to defend yourself. With that being the standard for the law, to get charged for a felony gun crime in Florida, they've got to have the goods on you. They've got to have enough to be like, hey, maybe you're not going to get charged for flashing the gun, but you're going to plead down to something else, and it's not going to look good for you. Like, that's my issue with this whole thing. If you just look at it from a logical sense of the law, he is going to end up with a plea bargain in this, or he's going to push it and end up looking at like significant jail time, which he'd be dumb to do.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Guess we'll see.
And here's another reason. If I'm Tony Khan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me you knew there was a warrant out for your arrest for a felony gun charge, and you didn't tell me, and I put you on national television?
Yes.
I'd be freaking the hell out.
That's actually the part that bothers me more than anything else.
Like,
that he,
it's and if it is true, like, what a horrible person you are. Like, it ruins, like, for me as a fan, it's gonna ruin me ever wanting to be interested in anything he does. And I know it's, you're soft woke bullshit, but like, it's gonna sour me on the human being and stuff like that. Like, I don't overlook it so easy.
Right. On the other hand, he's probably moved up a couple spots on Undertaker's favorite wrestler list.
Woohoo!
Taker's like, that's what I'm talking about. We need more of that.
We need more of them in the locker room. God,
this were like he's just living the gimmick, man. They're throwback to the 80s, like.
And what I think what blew my mind the most about this whole thing is I assumed it was like leaving the bar, had too many tequilas, like got into some and flashed again. This was 10 o'clock in the morning on like a Thursday.
Hey, man.
What the hell are you doing where you're that yoked? Like, you're just like, I gotta pull a gun on somebody today.
Look, man, I can't lie and say I haven't been there. Somebody cuts you off.
All right.
And, it just, And look, 10 in the morning, he probably was either on his way to or from the gym. He probably had a bunch of pre-workout in him. Like,
had a good pump going on and jacked full of testosterone.
No flips, just clips.
Yeah. God. It's another thing surrounding this company that's just like, Why? Like, why can't they just be? Why can't it just be about like putting on a great wrestling show?
Right. Yeah. Fair. Yeah. No. If I were putting money on it, I probably would put the say. I'd probably put my money on the Bucks, but I wouldn't be shocked if FTR retains. But
Yeah, I look. You can't risk having your a world tag team champion like. Then they find out, no, he really did do this, and it's as bad as we thought it could be. You don't want to be like, yeah, and then they put him on TV for 6 weeks after the fact, and turns out not only did he flash a gun, blah 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 blah. Like,
true.
man, that's a bad look.
Yeah.
And look, there is no AEW if the Bucks aren't around, so like they should probably win the feud.
Probably. And that brings us to the main event: AEW World Championship. Adam Cole versus champion MJF. There's a lot of different ways that I could see this going, but where I think I've settled at today, going back to where we started, I think they win the tag titles, and then they have the match. MJF wins. Maybe Adam has a chance to do something dastardly. Because they've been playing that up where
Yeah,
it's Adam, the one who's showing
the knife in the back.
yeah, been showing those tendencies. But he resists, kind of like the Piper WrestleMania 8 moment, where he's about to like crack MJF with the ring bell or something, and the crowd's like, no, and so he doesn't. And it ends up costing him. It's very similar to what they did with Hangman against Punk, but whatever. MJF retains. They hug, whatever. The Kingdom and Roddy are still lurking, right? Well, Kingdom, synonymous with Ring of Honor, they're going to want a shot at those Ring of Honor tag team titles. And maybe they get that shot, I don't know, next week. Maybe that's the Grand Slam. Who knows? But then that's when Adam turn. I am convinced, and like, look, I don't care if it ends if Max is pulling the wool over all our eyes again, then God bless him. Like, he got me this time. But I'm just I am just convinced. I think a babyface MJF right now would be exactly. It'd be the biggest thing
Money.
that they've one of the biggest things they've ever done.
And then you flip Punk and have that be the feud. Box office.
And
he's
office. Shown, I don't know, I haven't seen the whole thing. I don't know if you've seen the clips. He did this town hall with LaGreca for Busted Open for CSXM. And he's altered his public persona so much. He's still that dick, but he's backed off on he's only a dick when it's really warranted, when he's feels the need, like he has to be like, look, it's I think Bischoff says no brag, just fact, like that type of thing. And I just think ultimately, like after watching that dab or truth or dab today, like I just want the two of them to just continue being friends forever, because the two of them together it's so good. But I also understand, I don't know how far you can go with that, I guess. But yeah, I feel like Max as a baby, finally being a baby face for a little while is just money.
I couldn't agree more. I'm not going to enjoy the match. I know I'm not going to enjoy the match because it's going to be a lot like the Bloodline stuff earlier in the year, where what happens after is what I'm most concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready for this thing to break up.
Mm-mm.
It's too good, and I think it's one of those things where you need to be willing to just compromise and pivot and go with it longer than you anticipated, because Bischoff always talks about the momentum. It's hard to regain that momentum.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get these two are so likable, and they've got the crowds in the palm of their hands. Like, just keep running with it for right now.
I would agree with that, but I'm trying to think of it from the other side. Like, I just don't know after this then what you do with them. Like, I guess they could do a match with the Bucks. You know, is long term the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles like worthy of these two guys? Like, I just don't know.
I mean, look, I would argue the best tag team title reign in the company was Kenny Omega and Hangman,
No,
and
fair.
that's two single guys that like it just worked. And I don't think it needs to be a thing where they're like a tag team going after gold, as it's just like it's better than you, baby. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think either one of them needs a stable around them. I hate the idea of Cole going back to running a stable. He's done that so often. I just want him to be Adam Cole, baby. And he can be good guy or bad guy. I don't care. He can be a tweener. Just let him be him. If you pair him with MJF as just like a buddy friend, like that can, and they can still do their own thing. Hey, I got this. I don't need you. Good, bro. I'm fine. What that bro chacho, like it would like you could let them work together for a long time. And again, it gives MJF that babyface run that I think they'd be really dumb to ignore right now.
Yeah. No.
Especially if they've actually got him locked up, which I suspect is the real. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah. I don't think so either. But we'll see. I'm definitely interested to see how it plays out. Because as I said, there's a number of ways it could go, and I'd be either flat out okay or be willing to see how it goes. Pretty much any. The only thing that would really I think the only thing that would really bum me out and like make me not like it is if MJF is the one who turns on Cole, because we've seen that with
Yeah,
MJF multiple times.
yeah.
So that would be the only thing that could make me sour on this right now. Anything else is fair game to me. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the all-in card, and we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, they just announced Collision coming to Toledo in October. You and I secured tickets for the two of us today, so we will be there. Little over, I guess it's more closer to a little under 10 years from when the same building you'll finally get to see Punk in the Huntington Center.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess I hadn't put the two and two. That's it's kind of poetic. I like that.
Unless he gets hurt at all.
Yeah, right. Or just blows a gasket at a press conference, or yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one collision he's not scheduled to make, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no,
I'll be so mad. I'll be so mad.
As soon as they announced it, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. But yeah, for those of you who don't know the story, when CM Punk walked out of WWE, obviously he walked out on the Monday night after the Rumble. Well, that Tuesday night was SmackDown taping in Toledo, and this is before. I think the news of it broke while we were at the show.
Yeah. Because the whole time I'm like, hey, where's Punk?
Yeah. Because he was advertised and everything.
He was the face of the advertisers, like CM Punk in the Huntington Center.
Yeah. And so the show ends and no Punk, and we're like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then like the next morning, it's like, oh, by the way,
he walked out.
Yes. So yeah, he'll finally make good on that, and I can't wait to boo his ass.
I'll punch you. I don't give a shit.
That's fine. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Depending on what happens, because we're going to be camera side, I think we're going to be visible based on where I've seen it at. After I bought the tickets, I got back on the website and looked at the map. There was like camera side front row in the section I had bought next to had just opened up. And I'm like, God, nah. But second row is going to be awesome too.
Yeah.
Depending on what happens with the baseball team, you and I could take a giant fire Cashman sign, which I'd really like to get on national TV if they haven't fired him at that point.
Sure. Yeah. I could also take a Hangman sign and see what happens.
Maybe he'd call you out in his little post-show promo.
That'd be great. Yeah. So, and then I guess I'm going to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Night 1.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It was it tripped me out. So it's Wednesday night, obviously, last night. And
you know what that means.
You know what that means. That means about 9:00, I turn Dynamite off so I can put my kid to bed, because my wife has a thing she does on Wednesday nights. And normally when she comes home, she's real quiet, because she knows, like, if our son knows that she's there, you know, he'll immediately want her to put him to bed. Like, if mom's an option, she's the one that's got to put him to bed. Otherwise, he'll settle for me. So anyways,
it seems to be a theme in that house, settling for you.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he gets it from his
Sorry, I could miss the opportunity.
No, you're absolutely right. And so all of a sudden I hear her come home and like run through the house. I mean, it's not like she had to run far from our front door to our son's bedroom door, but still, like, she was being extra loud. And she like throws the door open. She's like, Chris, come here. And like, I hear her phone playing too. And I'm thinking like she's on the phone with somebody, like somebody got in a bad accident. And like I'm thinking the worst, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, come here. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm trying to like get her to tell me what's going on. She goes, just listen. And it was her. So she listens to, I think it's Z100 out of New York through the iHeartRadio app. It used to be, when we had Sirius XM, it used to be a station you could get on XM, actually. There was a LA station and a New York station that they had on Sirius XM. And she likes their morning show. And so she's, you know, now she listens to it through, like I said, our iHeartRadio. And they were doing a giveaway. Be caller X, and you win 2 tickets to night 1 of WrestleMania. So she's on her way home last night, and she said they were doing some sort of Barbie song countdown. So I don't know if it's just songs from the soundtrack from the movie or songs that relate to Barbie. So, like, I don't know if they were playing Barbie Girl like 9 times in a row, but doing some countdown. And the DJ's like, yeah, and you know, when we get between songs 1 and 3 or something like that, I can't remember what she said, we're gonna give away these WrestleMania tickets. So she's like, all right, fine, I'll stick through it. She suffers through this countdown, right? And finally, you know, the cue to call, you know, be caller X right now. So she says she dials. Yeah, exactly. She dials once and it rings like 12 times and then goes to busy signal. All right, crap. Hangs up, calls again. The number you're trying to reach cannot be completed as dialed. What? Okay. Call a third time, busy signal. Tries one more time, it starts ringing, and the dude picks up and like doesn't come right out and say she won, but she's at first, but he, you know, starts asking her all these questions like, yeah, so are you a big wrestling fan? You know, blah blah blah. And then yeah, she was the correct caller, and she won 2 tickets to WrestleMania Night 1 in Philadelphia in April. So yeah.
I'm so excited for you. That's so awesome.
It's so cool. Hotel is already booked. I did that.
Nice.
That was the first thing. Because I'm like, I better get this now. So yeah, I got a hotel.
That's the first thing I told you when you called me. I was like, dude, you got to get all that stuff booked now because you wait a couple months. That's gonna be like, we should go to WrestleMania as a Christmas gift. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. No, so I got a hotel that's near the airport. So because I'm assuming we're probably gonna fly. That's yet to be determined, but yeah, and so that part of it is off. I don't have to worry about that. We're kind of gonna bide our time, I guess, on the flights, just to kind of see what kind of deals pop up between now and then. If worst comes to worst, it'll be we'll do it as part of Christmas or something. But yeah, and then the big question is I gotta wait and see how this all plays out, see what the card looks like, see what's
No, see, I think you just gotta bite the bullet.
Think so,
dude? It's a once in a lifetime chance to see WrestleMania and get to go to both nights, right? Like,
sure.
Even if it disappoints you, the experience of doing WrestleMania away from home, you're already there. Like,
right. No, you're right.
It'll probably cost you an extra $800 to $1,000 at most if you go crazy with buying tickets for the second night. It's not going to matter 20 years from now, but being able to be like, I went to both nights, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. If Cody gets a rematch against Roman, it's 100% happening. I don't care if I got to sell a kidney. I will be in the building on night 2 for that.
I thought you were going to say sell my kid.
No.
Like, whoa.
No. No. Very clear. The kid is not for sale. Make that perfectly clear. Kidneys, however, let's talk. People out there.
You want me to take his left one or his right one?
Yeah, exactly. But no, if it's Roman Cody 2, the greatest rip of all time would be if they do that and then he loses again.
I'm 100% for it.
I might burn the city of Philadelphia down.
I would love to see the chaos that would ensue if they did it again. Oh, it'd be so good. Oh, all the WWE fanboys would be puking in their soup. It'd be amazing.
Puking in your soup. I haven't heard that one in a long time. So yeah, but yeah, no, it's super cool. We're gonna make it a vacation out of it. We're gonna go a few days early and see some stuff, see some sights, and Liberty Bell and all that good kind of stuff, I guess, and just have a nice little vacation and go to WrestleMania. So I'm pretty pumped about it. We both are. I think she's even more pumped about it than I am.
Yeah.
She got
again because that's an experience.
Yeah. Well, I think
did she go to the last WrestleMania in Detroit?
No, she's never been.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then just the rush of winning something like that, So
I won remember we won tickets to WrestleMania when it was in Detroit. I won 2 sets of tickets to WrestleMania that year.
You did. You made out like a bandit.
And the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's
shout out to WRIF.
Right. Yes. You won. What else did you won tickets to a house show too or something, right?
Yeah, and I won
a collection of DVDs and
I think it was the 2006 pay-per-view DVD collection, and it came in a tin. It had SmackDown cups. I still have the magnet because it was when they had just moved to Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a run there where I won 8 or 9 contests on the radio. That's how I got into Ring of Honor. Yeah. 97, I think it was 97-1. Yeah, they had the wrestling show, and they were doing trivia on that for tickets to the Ring of Honor house show. and I won and went, and we had a great time, and that's how I got turned on to that company.
Nice.
Radio contest.
Speaking of, we need one of these bars to do wrestling trivia again so we can go clean up.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite trivia experiences because we actually won cash for that.
We did, and we dominated, or at least that's how I remember it.
They were full. We're completely off topic here, but they were full. I mean, they were like, I want to say there were 4 or 5 tables that have at least 4 people at them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just you and I playing against them, and we won. Like it wasn't like we won by 2 or 3 points.
No, it was.
I remember pretty good.
Yeah. So, because it came down. We had to wager on the last one, and like we got it right, and we wagered quite a bit because I think we were pretty confident. So yeah, we ended up winning by quite a few points. But yeah, it was
because I like, not to pat my Barry Horowitz myself on the back, but I remember the host being like, "And in first place by a long shot." Like he called it out, and you and I were kind of like, "Did we win by that much?
Did we do this?" I remember you sprinting the cash out on the hood of your car and taking a picture to send it to Holly.
Yeah, because she was. My wife was making fun of us before we left. You're really gonna go play wrestling? You're not gonna win any money. You're just gonna waste your time. And then we came. I think we won like $300 or something like that. That was one of my biggest flex ever on the old wife. Like, well.
Yeah. All right. That's enough. Let's get out of here. So I didn't do the plugs at the beginning because we jumped right into race stuff.
Oh, I have something to plug for once.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
If you don't mind. It's not for me. I'll have to get all the exact information, but October 13th, there's going to be an independent show. It's being held out in Wayne, Michigan. Zach Gowen is helping promote it, and he's working with Freddie the Pizza Man. I don't know if you've heard of him. Barstool had visited the restaurant, but Freddie has this charity where they raise money where they build sensory rooms for children with autism, and this whole thing is a big benefit. And Bret the Hitman Hart is going to be there is going to be doing a meet and greet. The Motor City Machine Guns are going to be there. Rhino, Zach's going to be there. So there's a chance to go meet a WWE legend in maybe a smaller situation, and your money's gonna go to a good cause because proceeds from the event are supposed to go to the Freddie the Pizza Man's charity. So
hell yeah,
I'll actually plug that.
Yeah, definitely. So cool. Yeah, we'll you get that info, whatever links and stuff, send that over, and I'll get it added to the description on the video. But yeah, you can subscribe here at musicandmoonsaults.com. Follow the show on Twitter because I refuse to call it X at KM Wrestling Pod, and follow me at Kris. And I think that's it. And until next time, see you.